What's cracking? It's Joey from Imzz Elite, and we're back in the shop. We're gonna go ahead and throw one of our T-Sport fairings together, but before we get into that, I wanna thank everybody who made it out to our bike night this week. We're gonna have more in the future, so keep your eyes peeled for our event posts. I hope to see you at the next ones. Now let's get into this fairing. So for starters, we're gonna take our fairing. For some of you guys that order them in raw, this would be the case. We usually assemble them for you so that you don't have to figure out where everything goes. But you're obviously gonna have to take it apart to give it to your painter. Another thing is obviously I don't wanna touch a raw fairing with no gloves on. This one's already got some grease smudges. That's something to think about if you order raw fairing. You're gonna get all your hand oils and anything else that's on your skin in this fiberglass, and then you hand it to a painter. And if they don't do a good enough prep on it, it's gonna have a chemical reaction. So try to handle them with gloves, or at least keep your hands clean for the most part. You're gonna go ahead and put this face down. We'll start with one of our side plates. I'm gonna take the 1/2 inch long button head. That's gonna be the top one. These holes are shallower up top than they are in the back, so we'll throw that 1/2 inch. The 532 Allen. Start the back one. We have these 3/4, 20 by 3/4. It's gonna be the back bolt. When you're getting it all assembled, you want to leave this loose, leave some flex in it. It's going to be the same on the other side, 1/4 by 1/2. The top. $1/20 by 3/4 at the bottom. I would not advise putting blue or red Loctite, any kind of Loctite on these. Just keep your eye on them. If you ever see any movement in your fairing, you're definitely going to want to tighten them up. But these are aluminum inserts inside of fiberglass. So if you jam that bolt up in there, there's a good chance you'll just spin or rip out the insert. You have your top plate that goes underneath the fork riser bolts, or the handlebar riser bolts. This is gonna go on the inside of these two plates. Now, if you're on a Dyna, you'll notice on these side plates, there's 2 sets of holes. There's only one at the bottom, so they all use the same bottom mounting location, but the top one here is gonna be both of your Dyna fitments, old and new Dyna. And this is gonna be soft tail fitment. So the Lowrider S and the Street Bob and the Standard, all those soft tail models are going to use this lower hole. So if we'll build this first one for a Dyna. I have all the headlight blocks out, so we can go through it. Go ahead and throw this on the inside. For demonstration, I'm using a non-locking nut, but it's going to come with nylocks, so you'll obviously get that started, and then you'll have to use a 7/16 wrench to get the rest of the way. And these are all gonna go the same way. I kind of have them pre-set up, but if you look, it's gonna be the bolt and an AN washer. And you'll go through into the center. Now on the Dynas and soft tails other than the S, they're gonna use this bottom plate. So you throw that in there. Use a standard washer on the back. And then, like I said, it'll be a nylock. Take your 532 Allen and a 7/16.
can just loosely lock these down so that you just want them a little snug. That way you still get this kind of pivot motion in here and get it properly lined up with the tree. Same thing on the top one. Where you have that motion in it still, if you had to line these up with the top and bottom tree, and then once you have all that in, you can go ahead and don't over tighten them. It is only, like I said, aluminum and fiberglass, so essentially you can pull that insert all the way out. Now you have the whole mount assembly installed, and then from there we're going to move to the windshield. So for starters, with the windshield, you're going to have to pop these rubber grommets in the lower mounting holes. Usually we'll send them with the grommets already in, but if for some reason you falls out or you take it out because you're curious, they have a little channel. So you're just gonna straddle the windshield with both sides of it so it fits inside that channel. If you can't get it to wrap all the way around, it's more important that the flange be sticking out the face, because that's where the bolt head's gonna mash down. You got the rubber grommets in here. We're gonna go ahead and get the windshield hardware in. So you're gonna pop that first 1/4 by 1.5 inch in there. Throw the shorter spacer on the back side. Go ahead and drop that in there and get it started with a nut and a washer. Go ahead and do the second one. Remember, short spacer for these first 2 holes. Now we got the 2 front ones in. We're gonna go ahead. This is where the hardest ones are, the 2 outside ones. They tend to want to fall. So second from the last one's not gonna be too bad. You get a little flex here so you can kind of get this up under there. And you need to be careful and kind of flex this windshield just a touch. I'm gonna pull it back. Sometimes they go in cocked a little bit, so it helps to just run this in with the ratchet or a wrench. It's really just kind of threading loosely into the fiberglass. Once you get it out the back, you can go ahead and throw your washer and nut on there. Now this last one, the easiest way is to go ahead and try to get this wedged under there without marking your fairing. It helps to kind of stick your finger on the back side and kind of push on the spacer to help line the bolt holes in. Once you got all four, you can take your 7/16 and your 5/16. And I like to run these two solid mounted ones without the rubber first. We run them just till they're snug. Those front ones with the rubber grommets have a little float in them, so they're a little more forgiving. But these two back ones will yank the rubber ones out of the windshield. So now we're nice and sturdy there. Just run these front ones until they're snug. And that's it. Now, as far as the different models where it gets a little confusing, that one's set up for a Dyna. Obviously, I said the second set of holes would be for the Softail models. And then this lower bracket's gonna change on some of them. So if you're doing an S, well, let's stay on the Dyna. On the Dyna one, you're also gonna mount this on top. That's another thing people have kind of a little difficulty. Some are top, some are bottom. So on 06 to 17 Dyna, this is gonna come on top of this, on top of the tree. So you would run this through your bottom tree, up through the bottom, and thread into the headlight block like this. And that would be your finished configuration for a 06 to 17 Dyna. Now if you're on a little bit older Dyna like mine, 99 through 05, you're probably gonna have to run this one here, and this one's gonna mount off the bottom. So you'll go through this plate and the tree, and on the bottom side of the tree, you'll see we made this long enough to where it bridges over that little hollow cavity. And you will also, on a 39 mil tree, you'll have to drill a hole in the center for this. So on an older Dyna, that would be your setup there through the top tree and your block coming off the bottom, whipping up, instead of like the 06 where it comes off the top and goes down. Now, the Softail models, like the Street Bob and the Standard, are also going to be on the bottom. And if you're running the factory headlight, you're going to run these two spacers on the side as well, because the factory Softail headlight has a wider base. So it's very easy to switch to a Dyna bucket from this, because you can just eliminate these two and run a Dyna bucket with an aftermarket LED headlight. The last one, it's a little bit of a weirdo, is going to be the Softail Lowrider S. So you're going to go through and swap out. The rest of the mounting system is exactly the same. But we're just going to get rid of this bottom plate here. Now, if you're on an S, you'll get one that's a little more like this. If you removed your factory headlight already, you know why, because there's two counter bores that you have to sit that in. So on this one, it's gonna go with the notch facing in towards the bike, because there's a little bit of a gusset on the steering stem here. So you wanna be able to turn without that hitting that steering stem. So that's gonna go towards the bike. Installs just like the Dyna version, or the non-inverted Softails. And for these ones, the headlight's gonna come pre-assembled on it as well already. This one's gonna go directly to the bracket with a button head before you install it on the bike, or you won't be able to put the block on. And that's exactly how you're going to set up the headlight block for the Lowrider S inverted version. And that covers the assembly on our T-Sport fairing across all of our available model options. So I hope you liked that video. If not, let me know in the comments. Subscribe. We'll see you fucking next week. Hopefully you guys come out for our next bike night. So get out there and fucking rip.